Dumb and Dumber. For these guys, every day is a no-brainer.
Hey everyone, welcome to our latest episode of Half-Assed Movie Reviews. My name is John.
And my name is Matt.
And today, thankfully, Terminator 3 did not win, because in a scorcher, Dumb and Dumber pulled out the last-minute win at 36% over Terminator 3's 35%. Which,
it was 37-36. But
either way, it was 1%.
Doesn't matter.
It was close. It was really close, and I got really nervous because I just watched T3 in, November.
Yeah, so did I. Just watched T3, a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Because after we did our Terminator review, maybe?
T1, T2,
T2, I was like, no, I'm in. I got to do a complete watch through now.
But you didn't finish, right?
No, I did.
Oh, you did?
I watched T3, then I did Salvation, and then I did Genesis, and that's how we got into Genesis, because I said, oh shit, I fucking love this one. I forgot about this. And then you told me about the 4K, and then you...
Still haven't done Dark Fate, though.
I did. I skipped Dark Fate.
Which is weird, because that's arguably the third best.
I do agree with that, but I've actually seen Dark Fate a lot already.
Really? I've only seen it the once, and that's when we saw it in the movies.
You only saw it in theaters?
Yeah, with you that one time.
Don't you have the 4K?
Mm-hmm. I haven't put it in my player yet.
I've watched my 4K 3 or 4 times.
And I only have the 4K, because you know my rule, I don't like to buy the 4K until I need it. Mm-hmm. But that was one of the ones you peer pressured me into on a Black Friday, either last year or the year before, when it was like $7, and I bought it.
I peer pressured you? Terminator's his favorite movie, but he just can't complete the franchise.
Well, I'll get to it eventually, but I didn't need it. As you can see, it's still now just sitting on my shelf, which is a rule I personally don't like to break. I like to watch it right away.
There, you know it's there. If it goes out of print or whatever, it probably never will, but, it's just...
Yeah, but I am going to actually watch it pretty soon.
It was a good deal.
Yeah, it was a good deal. And I'm going to actually watch it pretty soon, so I'm glad that I can walk up and grab it.
Without having to spend the money now.
Yep. So, we're here today to talk about actually both Matt and I's probably favorite comedy of all time, right? I know it's mine.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that, yeah. I mean, there's some Will Ferrell movies out there that are pretty amazing, and I have to say, gun to my head, best comedy ever is probably going to be Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber. So this movie stars Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels. This came out in December of 1994, and Jim Carrey in 1994 had what I like to think is probably one of the greatest years for any actor ever. Mm-hmm. Because that year, in February, he released Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Ventura!
Yes, Satan? Oh, I'm sorry, sir. You sounded like someone else.
Then in the summer, he released The Mask.
It's party time! P-A-R-T. Why? Because I gotta!
And because those movies did so well that he negotiated a deal for $7 million to appear in Dumb and Dumber. When they had him signed on for way cheaper, but
really?
He got to renegotiate because those movies were such big successes.
Wow.
And
good for him.
Good for him. And Jeff Daniels, you want to know how much he made?
No.
$50,000 on this movie.
No.
Yeah, because the studio didn't want him.
Really?
Yep. The studio had one actor in mind who they wanted.
Who?
Nicolas Cage. But
What?
Yep. And Nick Cage refused to do it for less than $2 million. So the studio said, "All right, well, no." So they told him to go because Nicolas Cage was an established actor here. But Jeff Daniels only was in dramas. He was
Is this before or after Speed?
This is the same year, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, but before this, he did Arachnophobia, Terms of Endearment. He was always a drama actor.
Really?
Yeah, but who really wanted him was Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey's like, I need a guy who I could bounce off of. But I said, if it's two comedians, we're just going to be trying to up each other. I'm like, he's going to let me go, and that's it. So it worked, but Jeff Daniels they lowballed him on purpose because they didn't think he would accept it. But he did, and even his agent said, "Don't do this. This is going to ruin your career." But he's like, "No, I want to try comedy," and he did it. He took the job, and
nailed it.
Nailed it. I couldn't imagine this movie without Jeff Daniels.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah.
No.
Nick Cage, really?
They wanted Nick Cage. Yeah, it's crazy, right? They always wanted Jim Carrey because, at first when the Farrelly brothers were writing this movie, they were like, they got a recommendation to go see Jim Carrey in Ace Ventura. He's like, "Who's Jim Carrey?" They're like, "Oh, it's the white guy on In Living Color."
Pipes, cigarettes, #1 cause of domestic fires. Let me show you something.
And that's all they knew of Jim Carrey before they saw Ace Ventura. Okay. And then they're like, holy shit, we struck gold.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, that's our guy.
Right.
So, because this is their first movie too, the Farrelly brothers.
Okay.
it's amazing that this all worked out. And then in December, it got released. And this movie was a hit. It only had a $17 million budget. It made $247 million.
Wow.
So I guess that gamble paid off.
Yeah, big time. I'll say so. I guess that just all word of mouth at that point, right? Well, I guess it's in the paper.
Yeah, the
Probably made-
reviews, but the reviews weren't great, like because it's a comedy, you know,
Yeah.
and a gross out comedy at that. You know?
Is it a gross out comedy?
I mean, you know, there's a lot of toilet humor in there, and that's what the Farley brothers are known for. You know,
How do you define gross out? Like
like the diarrhea scene and like the what other scenes are in here?
the
With
diarrhea,
the
the
heart.
diarrhea scene that I have framed above my toilet in my bathroom.
yeah, that one.
Yeah, we'll put a clip in there of my actual downstairs bathroom, not the main bathroom, but downstairs. I
We'll
have,
fit it in the main bathroom too if you wanted to.
That's a big frame.
It is a big
It's
frame.
not gonna fit in my main bathroom.
It's definitely a big frame. But between that and then like with the chef and the heart scene and then
Yeah.
like the drinking the piss, like that's all
Drinking
like
the piss.
Yeah, that's
or
all
the
like
toenails.
yeah, the toenails. That's a great scene. But yeah, no. So like it's not for everybody. This type of movie. Actually, a friend of mine said that
You posted a thing on Facebook today
Yeah.
about Champion and how it was like Walmart clothes, and you're wearing Champion.
Yeah. You know where I got these pants? You're never going to believe me in a million years. And it's ridiculous. So these pants, I went away last summer to, where did I go? I went to Oceanside, Maryland. Mm-hmm. And somehow these pants ended up in my bag. And I thought they were one of my brothers.
Okay.
Because it was a family vacation. It turns out I asked everyone whose pants they were. Nobody knew. So they were left there, I guess, from the people before.
Right.
And now they're my pants.
We just kept them.
Just kept them.
Okay.
So they're my pants now.
Did you clean them?
I mean, the first time I wore them, no. But the second
That
time...
is disgusting. So you found pants in a hotel room,
Well, I didn't know they weren't...
tossed them on.
Well, I didn't know they weren't my family's the first time I put them on.
Right.
So, if it was my brother's, why would I care?
I mean, I guess that tracks, but still.
Yeah. Either way, good
Even if
pants.
they were my brothers, I'd be like, hey, are these yours? I wouldn't just toss them on.
I'm not really, I'm not a big clothes guy, so fashion's not my thing.
Not a big hygiene guy either, I guess.
I mean, pants are pants.
Sure.
All right. Well, anyway, where was I? We were just talking about. So another fun fact about this movie: Lauren Holly, who plays Mary Swanson. Mm-hmm. Jim Carrey was married to her for a little while.
Before, after, or during?
Well, they met here, and then they were married for a little while, and they
no shit.
and they got divorced a few years after this. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, Jim. I think that might have only one of his two marriages. I don't think he got married again after. I could be wrong.
He's not married right now.
No, he's not married now.
Is I guess he's single. That's
He's
crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy that they met here. Yeah, Mary Swanson
Slippy, slappy, Samsonite.
was way off. We didn't catch up to this obviously in '94, but when I first saw this in about '95, '96, I was way too young for these jokes.
Yeah.
You had to be too.
This was my first DVD ever.
Really?
This was my yeah.
This
Actually, no, I lied. This is the first DVD I purchased with my money.
Oh, I got you.
You know-
Money you earned for yourself, and you went out and spent it on something.
I wouldn't say I earned it for it was probably birthday money or allowance or whatever the hell it was, but it's the first time I made a transaction for it. My first DVD ever was Shrek. But this was pretty early on because I specifically remember there was, I don't know, was there like a DVD store or something on Portion Road by Boston Market?
Yes. It was Coconuts, I believe.
Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm. It was Coconuts, and then they were one of the ones, like, Coconuts, I don't know where Coconuts or FYE are around the rest of the world, but here, there was Coconuts, and then they turned into FYEs, but then Coconuts, that one specifically, just closed down.
Right, okay.
So,
because
they just shut it down.
I remember being in that parking lot, and I remember picking up my first DVD rack.
I remember that black rack that you might still have. Did you eventually, did you retire it?
Yeah, it's gone.
Because you had that at your grandma's place.
Yeah, so it was a DVD rack that held like 25 or 50, and I remember picking up Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura.
Did you grab the mask too? You got to complete the big three.
I forget what else I grabbed. I just vividly remember Dumb and Dumber and a new rack for my room because I was like, I'm going to collect DVDs.
Well, I first saw Dumb and Dumber the first time on VHS, and actually I saw the trailer for this on the Mask VHS.
I probably saw it. I probably saw it before that. That's why I bought it because I liked it. but I can't remember the first time I saw a dog.
Yeah, the trailer just sticks out in my head so much with like that. You want to hear the most annoying sound in the world was in the trailer. Like that Mask VHS, I remember every trailer because I watched it so many times.
Okay.
I remember Pop Secret, Ghost Guy, whatever the hell he was.
The only VHS I can really remember every single commercial was Dennis the Menace.
I had that one too. I don't remember any of
remember
them.
like the kid on the swing set that went around over the bar and spun around the whole time.
Yeah, I remember.
Was that like a soda commercial maybe?
Something. That's a commercial though.
Yeah, it was. But
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was.
Very 90s.
I remember. Yeah,
Very 90s.
I like that.
All right, you ready to dive into the film?
Yep. So the film starts on Hope Street, right?
Yeah,
Is that the name of the road?
I never looked at the name of the road, but
Yeah,
it's
well,
a cold open.
Yeah, it starts right on there. The limo pulls in, and then he just slams on the brakes because he sees a hot chick standing at the bus stop.
I guess he climbed through the back.
Because he was driving, but we don't know that. We don't know that yet. That's spoilers. No future spoilers. So he rolls down the window, and he's like, "My driver's a bit lost, and I got a lecture or something."
Yeah, it
some
makes himself sound smart.
Yeah. So she tells him, and he just makes this stupid face. And he takes her Austrian accent, and he says,
That's a lovely accent you have. New Jersey?
Austria.
Because they're in Rhode Island. Yeah, so New Jersey's foreign to him. And then
and she says Austria, and then he just
Austria! Well then, good day, mate.
runs with an Australian thing. Oh, throw another shrimp on the Barbie. So Austria, Australia. I see where you can get that confused, maybe, but like I would assume those are pretty distinctive accents.
she's like, let's not. And then close the window, he jumps in. I love that he hand signals off the curb.
Yeah.
And then they jump into the opening credits with that song
Yeah,
playing.
the music. Yep. Then we see Jeff Daniels driving the
Mutt cuts.
The mutt cuts.
And he's got a couple dogs in the back. He bought food for them and for himself, and he's calling them all out. And he's got who got the foot long? And then the little dog walks. Yeah, real funny rascal.
Roast beef rajoux. that would have been mine. I like the roast. That's like a
French dip kind
Yeah,
of deal, right?
basically,
Yeah, we got that for the dogs. Miss Nugenborn or whatever.
Noogie Burger.
Noogie Burger. So once we get through the credits, because Lloyd's on his way, it's Lloyd Christmas, he's on his way to go pick up somebody and drive him to the airport. Jeff Daniels, Harry Dunn, he's going to drop these dogs off at a dog show. You know, he's wearing the dog costume and everything. The van looks like a dog, which is hysterical.
Spent his whole life savings on it.
Yeah, the alarm was $500 alone.
200.
200.
Yeah, his life savings.
That's what really chaps my ass.
Anyway, no future spoilers.
Yeah, we keep going ahead. It's just too many quotes in this movie. They get there, and he is like, you're not going to have to pimp them or clip them because I did it myself.
And I stand by my performance.
She opens up the door just to find the dogs completely covered in ketchup, mustard, and whatever else was floating around in the back of the truck.
On second thought, you might want to run a comb through them.
Yeah.
And then Lloyd picks up Lauren Holly's character of Mary, and he's immediately starstruck. The score tells us he grabs his chest, sprays that Brett stuff in his mouth.
And then he sucks in like he got some.
Yeah.
Completely misses his mouth, which also plays off later in the movie. But.
Yeah, it's green. So then, you know, they get in the car and they start talking. Like, you know, why are you going to the airport? Flying somewhere? Yeah, how'd you guess? Oh, saw the airline ticket. Then I saw the luggage and I put two and two together. Where are you going?
No, well, then she starts to get a little nervous, so he gets like you can see her like kind of grabbing her stuff. She's like, "Oh, this guy's a little weirdo. He doesn't have both oars in the water."
Is that why you thought she was like that? I thought she's nervous because she's going to drop off money to.
Well, that too. That's
Yeah.
probably playing into it too. But yeah, maybe that's what it was. I don't know. But also, that's a fucking weird question.
That is a weird question, and it's a stupid question at that.
Yeah. So either way, she's in
You
an
know,
uncomfortable
statistically, Mary, more people are most likely to get killed on the way to the airport than they are to actually flying.
getting trapped under a gas truck. That's the worst.
We see an explosion behind him. Yeah, why don't you keep your eyes on the road there?
So we finally get to the airport, and he refuses to take a tip
Oh no, Mary. I couldn't possibly accept that.
from her because
Not after
everything they've been through.
One trip to the airport. And she turns away and he's like, hey, how about a hug? Gives her the weirdest hug, and she just looks scared as shit, and then she turns away and she's like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, buckle up, guys. This is going to be a long one.
Yeah, and then he jumps in the car, and he's looking at her walking, and he's like, goodbye, my love, and then plows
rear ends into somebody, and then he sees that what she was actually at the airport for, well, he doesn't know that, but he thinks she's just forgetting her briefcase because she looked out the window and then walked away. But was part of the plan all along, was to drop the suitcase for the other two thugs to come and grab it as the ransom for her husband that has been kidnapped, which we later find out.
Yep, and those two thugs are
the Gas Man.
Yep, Mike Starr, who many people might recognize from Uncle Buck or Scrubs. He's in a great and good episode. And Carrie Duffy, she actually was a video DJ for MTV for a long time, so she was a VJ.
Really?
Yep. So those two are pretty established a little bit. So very 90s kind of people.
Yeah.
You know, the Gas Man. So he slides in there, grabs it. He runs. He has no idea where he's going, so he just picks a random...
Eeny, meeny, miny, moe.
Runs off, and then the guy tries to stop. Hey, you can't go in there.
It's okay, I'm a limo driver.
Falls immediately off the jetway. Again. And then hard cut to Harry pulling up, looking pouty in his sweats, which honestly always reminded me of clothes I wear.
Yeah, you dress a lot like Harry does.
Yeah, I know. Hair's better, though. You gotta admit that, because his shit is blown out.
I guess, yeah.
And Lloyd gets dropped off
by a cab, because he was fired.
Because he was fired. How was your day, Harry? They live in like such a shithole apartment,
yeah,
too.
It's
You ever
like a projects or something.
I said it's probably Section 8 housing or something, right?
Yep.
So they're talking. He's like...
A lot of action, a lot of activity down there. Down on the ground level out there.
Yeah,
so.
people are just hanging out outside. You know, people aren't doing that anymore. They got their heads in their phones.
Well, not in our neighborhood, but, you know.
I'm probably somewhere in shitty Rhode Island, you know, Billion 3C.
Billion 3.
But he's always
4C,
4C, but he's always sitting out front. Where's his parents? Kid's blinded in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
But anyway, they go inside. He's like, I got fired again.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. They always freak out when you leave the scene of an accident.
Man, you're one pathetic loser.
Call him pathetic. He's like, no offense. None taken. And then they talk about the fact that why does he have a briefcase with him? He's like, well, the love of my life just came in and out of my...
She actually talked to me.
Get out of here. Yeah.
Tractor beam. Sucked me right in.
Did you look inside? No, I'd have to be some kind of lowlife to do that.
Rooting around on other people's things. Is it locked? Yeah, really good.
And then they chalk up like this kind of plan because their lives suck. They're trying to save up all their money to open up a worm store.
Yep.
I got worms. That's what they're going to call it.
Well, Lloyd also found out that she was flying to Aspen.
Yep. And then he doesn't want to go, Jeff Daniels, because...
what did he say? California.
That's what Lloyd said,
Yeah.
but Jeff Daniels was like, I don't know, Lloyd. French are assholes.
The French are assholes.
Wait a minute, mister. I know what you want. You want to go to Aspen so you can give that lady back her briefcase, and you need me to drive you there.
So I want to go somewhere where we know somebody who can pluck us into the social pipeline.
Like, he's got these dreams that she's just going to welcome in him. This fucking weirdo who drove her to the airport and freaked her out.
Oh my God. There's not a bad scene in this movie.
No.
It's just scene for scene, you're just dying laughing.
Everything is quotable. Because, like, right after this, they jump on the road. Like, that's it. They're just leaving their apartment because, well, they see that actually we didn't bring it up, but the two thugs knocked on the door before they went out looking for jobs.
Yeah, he looks at the thing. He's cocking his gun, checking to see what's in the clip, and she's staring through the door. And then Lloyd goes, "Did you pay the gas bill?" And Harry's like, "Do you realize what you've done?"
Like, they're gonna send a guy with a gun and another person if you don't pay the gas bill. I'll tell you what, though. A lot of people would pay their bills on time if they knew someone with a gun was coming.
Yeah, but legally, I don't think that's something that they're allowed to do.
That is definitely not what they're allowed to do. They jumped out the window and, they look for jobs, and there's none out there anyway, because they said, not unless you want to work 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
And also through there, like, they went out to get the bare essentials, which are just beer and a big hat, bunch of windmills. Yeah, that little scene in there. And I always thought, one thing I picked up finally, after watching it a million times, is Harry considers the bare essentials the beer anyway because he's
Yeah.
like, "Where's the booze?"
Yeah. Well, that was the bare essentials.
Yeah.
It was the oversized hat, the ping pong paddle. They had
Had the windmills in there. Like,
yeah, the windmill things. Yeah, like all these things. Like, why would you? What are you doing?
that's what he went and bet. That's the last of their dough too.
Well, I can guarantee you the crew probably just went to like a 7-Eleven or something, just found the most ridiculous things
That they could find on the
toss in
shelf.
box.
Yeah. So when they do finally hit the road, Lloyd's actually eating a bag of chips, and he's like, he's like, "What did you get that, Lloyd?" "I just grabbed it at the gas station when we were filling up." "You're supposed to talk about all expenses that
Yeah.
we're on a very tight budget. I was able to raise $20 extra before we left."
25, I think.
Maybe it was 25.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sold some baseball cards. Petey.
Yeah. You sold my dead bird to a blind kid?
Yeah. Petey didn't even have a head.
I took care of it.
Like he's all, and you see Lloyd's face. He's like, why are you upset about it? Like,
Yeah.
it's not. He's dead anyway.
Cut to the blind kid holding the bird with the head taped on, just petting it.
Pretty bird, pretty bird. Polly want a cracker? It fucked up. And actually, this is the first glimpse into the soundtrack of this movie, and I think this movie has the best soundtrack of any
Great
film out there.
soundtrack, yeah.
I've got a new age girl. Tell us what she's like. Environmentalist girl.
Bunch of bands that I never even heard of. Like I've
Right.
heard of a few of them, like the Crash Test Dummies. Like, That's the song that plays when Jeff Daniels is like, "I'm walking home."
Oh, yeah.
But there's a bunch in there. Crash. Yeah. That's
That reminds me of like Reno for some reason.
Oh, good. They
Reno
could the
911.
transition song from
Reno
Reno.
911. Yeah.
That is very. Oh, yeah, very similar.
Yeah, it sounds like a whale.
That's my
Or the-
interpretation.
Or the fish from Finding Nemo.
Well, I guess. Oh yeah, but like you get songs like "New Age Girl" by Dead Eye Dick, which that's the one I like. There's a bunch of songs, but the soundtrack in here is amazing. I love it. A bunch of songs that I just listen to, just anyway. I
I don't
to them.
listen to him outside the movie.
Really? No, I have the whole soundtrack. I mean, like the problem is Apple Music doesn't have all of the songs, so I have to look them up separately. But like "New Age Girl" is one of my favorites.
Interesting.
Yeah. I love it. Just perfect soundtrack. So anyway, they're on the road. They're making their way, and they decide, hey, why don't we stop and get some food? And this is where we meet Seabass, paid by Cam Neely.
Yeah.
Cam Neely was a hockey player, very successful one for the Boston
Looks like a
Bruins.
hot
Yeah.
player.
He was, and then he transitioned into acting, and he was in a bunch of small roles like this. And Matt, we were talking about, actually saw a fun fact we shared on our Facebook this morning, is that apparently, because he shows up later in the movie, which by the way makes no goddamn sense, because they are traveling across the country. How did they end up at the same bathroom in the middle of nowhere, and he has a note up there?
I assume he was a truck driver as well.
You know what? That kind of does make sense. He probably travels, maybe they were going Route 66. They're going cross country, I don't know.
Yeah, they probably stayed on the main vein.
Yeah, I'm
wherever
sure.
they were going.
So yeah, so that adds up a little bit. But anyway, yeah, actor turn.
That's also a deleted scene. No,
They just
it's extended.
It's an extended scene. There's a bunch of because even this, when they're in the diner, has some extended scenes. So
Yeah.
right now, the only Blu-ray I believe, from what I can tell, is this unrated cut, and it goes right into it.
Yeah.
Now I've seen the theatrical cut a million times, and so has Matt. So I know what the scenes are extras and what scenes are extended because I just know exactly what it is.
Oh yeah, this doesn't have the theatrical.
No,
this
it
is
doesn't.
Just unrated.
And I looked it up, and I can't find a theatrical cut on Blu-ray. Which
Really?
Yeah, and the Blu-ray is pretty good, but
I believe my DVD is theatrical.
Is it?
And unrated. I don't know.
oh, you have the unrated on DVD also.
That's what it was. So this is my original.
Okay.
This is my original. This
And
is
that's a custom white job, right?
yeah. This was when I was into modifying my cases. Wow, look, the disc looks like your discs. Well, it's a little banged up. This one. It's a little
Discs
old.
are all clean. Are you kidding me?
Oh look, this. No way.
Reversible slipcover?
Oh well, that's like a,
Spanish or
Yeah.
slipcover. Show them that. Never seen anything like that.
that's weird.
Yeah.
What does it say? La clache et la idiot. La idiot. That's funny.
So maybe idiot is Spanish for dumb.
So yeah, this was my original copy on DVD. Then I picked up the unrated version, which is the same one we have here on Blu-ray. Same artwork and
yeah.
everything. Yeah, it's identical.
Identical.
I had that, and this I acquired from my aunt when she gave me her DVD collection, and this is a sealed copy.
And it's different than the one
well,
here?
this is the old school DVD.
Oh, with the clip.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember this.
Yeah, like your
I
mushroom
know.
clip.
Yes. I'm bringing that back, huh?
So this is probably the oldest of the bunch, if I had to take a guess.
Yeah, they didn't really have those
Very
cases.
surprised that's still sealed.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. That's a movie you open up immediately.
Yeah.
At least that's what I'm doing.
Yep.
So anyway, when they're at this diner, they order a couple burgers and they're eating them, and they call the waitress Flo. They think it's hysterical.
Yeah.
And there's a nice little joke in here where they're like browsing, and he's like, "Oh, they got the Monkees. They're a huge influence on the Beatles," which you have to know a little bit about music to know that the Monkees are a complete Beatles ripoff.
And actually, if you look at this, these covers are different.
Color dip. Oh wow, no, they're just different pictures.
They're the same but different. And
So they probably did a photo shoot that day, and
these are
because Jeff Daniels' face is completely different.
the back is the same, I think.
It's a little bigger on here. Like, look, they have a quote in different spots.
Yeah. So if you're looking at these, they're similar but different. And then on the back, it is actually a little bit different. Also, that's interesting.
It is interesting. So, unfortunately, Jeff Daniels, Harry Dunn, spills the salt.
Sorry, audio listeners.
Yes, yeah, we were just showing you guys. You'll figure it out. Anyway, he spills the salt, and he's like, "You got to throw some salt over your shoulder." Now, I didn't know about this until this movie, so maybe he's not wrong. Maybe you're supposed to throw the whole entire salt shaker over your shoulder.
No, you just throw a pinch.
Who's the dead man who threw the salt shaker? And this, I said this to Faith while we were watching last night. This would be you. 110%. No,
just the...
what Lloyd is doing. You would throw me right out of the bus. And then you would do that 100 and then look out the other way while the guy's like fucking confronting me. You gonna eat that?
Man, you really put...
That's what the shit you would do to me, though.
Man, you really pitched that?
Yeah.
Pussied out?
Yeah, he's like, you really wussed out back there, man.
Yeah.
Really wimped out, man.
What was he hawked in my burger? Like that would 100% be you. Like you'd call me a wimp after you fucking completely threw me under the bus.
Yeah, that's funny. That's really funny.
Yeah, I know you would do it too.
Nah.
And he took his food. I felt bad but anyway, he paid for it in the end because he's like, they pull a little scam and make Seabass and the boys pay for the rest of it. He's like,
Make it a couple Boilermakers.
which I think is a real beer, but I don't know.
It sounds like a liquor drink or something like that.
It sounds like a really cheap beer, like Pabst or something like that. No. So anyway, like they grab a bunch of stuff, and he tells them about. And here's another fun fact for you. So he tells them, like, he's like, "Where'd you learn that?" Harry asks him. He's like, "Where'd you learn how to do it?" He's like, "I saw it in a movie once." He's like, "Oh, and they just got away?" He's like, "No, they caught up to him down the road and slit his throat."
It was a good one.
So that movie is called Something Wild that came out in 1986, and the guy who pulls that scam, Jeff Daniels.
What?
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so it's a nice little callback joke to himself.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah. So, pretty cool to sneak that in there.
Oh, I like that.
Yep. And then they're traveling up this road for quite some time, but Lloyd has to take a piss.
Yes.
And he's like, "Well, I'm not stopping now if you just told me about these guys. And these are some big truckers, you know?"
Yeah.
And if you ever read Cam Neely's hat, it says Wine, Dine, and 69 on it.
Does it?
Yeah.
I never read it.
Now, the Farley brothers into all these dirty jokes, which I love. And then, so he's like, "All right, well, I got some empty beer bottles in the back, so you can piss in those." And he's filling these things up like crazy.
Like a camel.
Like a camel. He shakes like a camel, too, which every man knows exactly what that shake is.
Piss shivers.
Yeah. Everyone knows that when you're wrapping up.
Yeah.
And then they drive right, they're speeding for some reason, right by a cop, the guy who I always recognize from Half-Baked.
Half-Baked, yeah.
I don't know where else. I think it was The Rocketeer, maybe he was in? I don't know. He was in a couple other things. But he's the cop, and he drives up next to him. He's like, "Pull over!" And, like, they're so stupid.
No, it's a cardigan, but thanks for noticing.
"Killer boots, man!" Like, he thinks they're giving each other compliments.
Pull your vehicle to the side of the road.
And so he pulls him over. He's like, "You know why I pulled you guys over?" And then he notices the beer bottles on the floor. He's like, "You guys been doing a bit of boozing, have you? Sipping down on Grandpa's old cough medicine?" "Oh, no, sir." And then he grabs the bottle. I mean, terrible cop.
Yeah.
He goes to take a swig of it, and he's like, and starts fucking just choking on it.
No, I'm so glad it was him. Like, I don't know if anybody else could have sold that like that.
With this mouth, right? And that like choking kind of sound he's
Yeah.
making. Oh my god, grossest thing. And that's a disgusting scene. That
Yeah.
kind of gets me.
The piss.
Yeah. And obviously he's embarrassed, so he's like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Because he just drank piss.
Well, they tried to stop him.
They did try to stop him. He didn't believe it. He's like, you'd shut your mouth if you knew it was good for you.
You little pumpkin pie haircutted freak.
Just literally lit into him.
Yeah.
Just ripped him apart. That haircut is ridiculous.
Yeah,
and actually, his chipped tooth is real. Did you know that?
Is it?
Yeah, he just took the cap off.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
because he already had it. He got in a fight when he was a kid.
Wow.
So after this, they take off again, and they're just driving now, and they notice a hitchhiker. And this is where we see our two guys again. Well, the reason why is they were following him, and they realized that they were traveling. And they found. I get a little mixed up here.
We talk about the.
Yeah, but they follow them, and these two guys go to a hotel, a love hotel kind of a deal, right? They're like,
Our boys are held up in a love nest.
yeah, and he punches that guy outside. And this is the first time we see Mr. Andre.
Yes.
And this is the only movie I ever saw this guy in. Pretty sad. He actually ended up killing himself.
Really?
Yeah.
For what?
I guess he was unhappy. I don't know why he killed
okay.
himself. I just know that's what happened.
No
And
note?
I don't know. I didn't look that far into it. I just was running down the cast list. I wanted to see how Mr. Andre was doing. Turns out he's been dead for quite some time.
Gotcha.
So this is all I ever saw him in. But he tells them, yeah, our boys are held up in a love nest, and we see them upstairs. They're sitting in a heart-shaped hotel, and this is where he's
With
like,
paper thin walls.
yeah, with the paper, which is a deleted scene.
Yeah.
Because this scene is extended. Yeah, he's listening to the people next.
Get her!
Get her.
Get her!
And then this leads into him telling Lloyd about how he stayed in one of these with Freda Felcher many years ago. Not as nice though.
Yeah.
Not as
Not
classy.
as classy, but nice.
Yeah. And they're just drinking beer, and they're talking, and he's like, the thing that really gets me is, because they broke up, is she called me and
No,
she said
she wrote him a John Deere.
she wrote him a John Deere letter saying how
John
I
Doe
didn't.
letter.
Yeah. So I called her up, and she's like, yeah, I don't know. She told me about something how I wasn't really paying attention. Well, I don't know. I wasn't listening. I wasn't really listening. But he's like, what really kills me is I think she was seeing another man, and we could clearly tell it was Lloyd.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't really linger on that. That does come back at the end, though.
Yeah, that pays off. They pay that off.
Yep. So anyway, Mike Starr and the other girl from MTV, they're pulled over, and they're going to fake like they need a ride. Well, just that Mike Starr needs a
Yeah,
ride.
our thugs, our henchmen,
Yep.
our enemies.
So he waves him up, and Lloyd tells him, we don't really pick up hitchhikers much.
But I'm gonna go with my instinct on this one. Saddle up, partner.
Partner. They let him sit in the middle, and he asks, well, why don't you guys play the radio?
Yeah, well, they're playing tag over him.
Oh my God! And the rules that they're playing, and they're getting and he's just getting mad. He's like, no touchies, and he's like, touch blue, make it true. Like, are these real rules for tag?
Yeah, well, or like, you can't stamp a double stamp.
You can't triple stamp
a double stamp.
You can't triple stamp a double stamp. And he's getting so mad. He's almost to the point where he's going to kill him. He's pulling his gun out. And then he does the most annoying sound in the world. Now, if you ever pay attention to Jeff Daniels in this scene, you'll see he breaks.
Does he?
Yeah, and they cut right away because he had no idea that was coming. Never told them that he was going to do that. So that was all an improv by Jim Carrey. And yeah, he broke. And, then as he's about to kill him because they're singing Mockingbird, everybody.
Lloyd, look, there's some people want to ride too. Pick them up.
They
Pick
see
'em up.
Pick them up. And then they're all singing Monk. See, ing, see. And then, I guess they drop them off, and then the three of them end up having dinner at a diner.
Yeah, they stopped at Inferno's or something.
Which I imagine, spicy burger, which is crazy because we have an Inferno by us.
It wasn't actually Inferno. It was like
Oh, Dante's Inferno.
something like that.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was-
something with hot. And
Yeah.
it basically told you you're gonna get hot food here.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact name.
And they ordered a couple of burgers, but while they're waiting at the bar, they notice that there's some really hot peppers there. And he's like, I dare you to take this one, Lloyd. And they're passing it back and forth. And he's like, why don't you two just stop acting like a couple of babies and try them?
I think he calls them pussies.
Yeah, a couple of pussies. Yeah. He's like, why don't you guys stop acting like a couple of pussies and try these out yourselves? And he's like,
Yeah.
all right, sounds like a dare, huh? It's a double dare.
Yeah. And then he goes and he does.
They both
take it. They're
They acted like it's not that hot.
and then their mouth's on fire. Then he starts laughing, goes and makes a phone call. And while he's gone, they put one on his burger. But
Well, they're trying to cool their mouths, though. They're spraying mustard and ketchup, and he passed it to Lloyd down. He's like,
here, Lloyd, this helps.
and he's...
Yeah. But the gas man will refer to him as some sort of condition where
He has an ulcer.
That's what it is.
Yeah, which I think means like the acid in his stomach has like
so
eroded.
He can't eat the hot food like that, so they put the hot fucking thing on his burger and he chew it. But this is right before he finds out that they were all in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, so he realizes that they're not even guilty. Like he could just grab the briefcase, get out of there. They won't even care. Or at least be smart enough to realize because they're just really dumb luck for them.
Yeah, he could have saved. Well, he could have saved them.
Everyone would have gone on their merry way. Mr. Andre would have got his money, and Bobby would have came back.
He had rat poison on him because he was going to kill him.
Yeah.
And they ended up feeding him the rat poison.
Pills are good.
Yeah.
Pills are good. I love it. He's trying to give him the thing. He's like, in with the bad, out with the good. He knocks him into the blinds. He comes.
In with the good, out with the bad.
It'd be a lot easier if you don't resist.
Yeah.
And then he dies.
And as he dies, his last breath, he says, "Son of a bitch." And then they're driving.
And they're just sitting there.
Check, please.
Yeah. They're just sitting there quietly, and they're like, they've never seen a man die like that in front of them before. And he's like,
he didn't blame me. You heard what he said.
You son of, you already know his mom is a bitch. And he doesn't understand. He blamed me. Those were his last words.
Stupid.
1 minute you're hawking down a burger, the next you're dead meat. And they just go on their way like nothing. And then they just go to a 7-Eleven. They decide to switch seats.
Oh, big gulps, huh?
Well, see you later. And then he gets in the car. Harry's already sleeping. I guess some guys aren't cut out for life on the road.
Yeah, he's messing with him. He misses the turn, and he drives a sixth of the way across the country in the wrong direction.
But Harry never thanked him for this, because if they would have gone straight, there was a police setup waiting for them.
Yep.
Which, again, would have cleared everything up, because this was all on a big misunderstanding.
Right.
But still, we wouldn't have a movie if that was the case. So they drive the other way, and when he finally wakes Harry up, he's like, hey,
they're in Nebraska.
Yeah, and he's like, I thought the Rocky Mountains would be a little more rockier than this.
That John Denver's full of shit, man.
Hard cut again to Harry sitting in the grass, his ass cracks out.
Yeah, well, not even the grass. They're in a dirt field. It's just plains everywhere. There's just
completely missed
dirt.
Colorado.
Yeah, it's just flat and farmland, and that's it. Not gonna lie, I would be interested in living in a place like that.
So would I, probably, but I mean that's the kind of thing where there's any which way you go, there's nothing. At least from that way.
As long as I have a good internet connection.
Yeah,
And
which I hear bad things about.
Supermarket close by or something.
Yeah, that's all we need. And as long as Best Buy and Amazon deliver, well, not Best Buy, as long as Amazon delivers our 4Ks, we're fine.
Yep.
So anyway, they get in a big fight, and he's like, I guess you never make a mistake. He walks away, because he's walking home.
Home. I'm walking home.
But Lloyd...
Nebraska to Rhode Island.
I guess it's pretty far. But Lloyd comes up with a genius idea. He finds a kid in town, trades the van with him straight up.
Now, I don't know if they ran out of gas, how did he get the van to the kid? It doesn't really matter, but I was always curious how he made that trade.
Well, my assumption, and this was always my assumption, is that
the kid was
riding by. And he told him, he probably like, hey, you out of gas? And he's like, I'll take the truck. He's like, you get 74 miles to the gallon on this compared to, that truck is probably chugging through gas, I imagine. So, makes sense, I guess in their logic, because they got to get to Aspen, they have no money.
Right, right.
So 1 gallon of gas is going to get them pretty far. Mm-hmm. So anyway, he trades it for this little moped thing, and
little mini bike,
which he's proud of, because he finds Harry, pulls up to him.
Yeah.
He's got the whistle. He's like, looking at it like, it's like, where did you get that thing? And he's like, traded it for the van straight up. Get 74 miles a gallon on this hog.
Just when I think you couldn't be any, or what's he say?
Just when I thought you couldn't get any dumber, you go and do something like this and totally redeem yourself. Yeah. Still want to go to Aspen? Yep. And they high five and miss. jumps on, throws the helmet on, and they're on their way to Aspen. And we get a nice little montage of them driving up there, and they play, again, another great song. And we see them holding up traffic.
Buzzing around on the minibus.
I'd be
He
furious.
takes a piss.
Yeah. And then they get to Aspen, jump off the bike, and they're frozen and stuck together.
The boogers they're stuck together from the piss. There's boogers all over their face.
Yeah. Got a little nipply there going through the Rockies, huh, Hair? And they fall over, and then, again, hard cut into them just walking down the street, and they notice a girl.
Yeah.
And then they're like, wow, look at the butt on that one. Yeah. He must
work out.
Walk up to, like, oh, they're going to dive right into it. They want to get right in this, giving Mary back her briefcase, because that ultimate goal in the end was to give the briefcase back to Mary.
Yep.
They look it up.
Nighttime yet?
Not nighttime yet. This is when they first get there, they're going to deliver it right to Mary, which this town, I believe they said, was in Colorado. So they did a lot of this. But the hotel they film at, it's a real hotel, but it wasn't in Aspen.
Okay.
So they go to back in the olden days, we couldn't look up people online. So you went to the Yellow Pages, and they had these
phone booth.
in a phone booth.
Which we also see the Terminator do in the Terminator.
Yeah, so this is how you found people. So back in the day, you just went to an old phone booth, and they all had the Yellow Pages in there. You look up somebody, but unfortunately for them, she must be unlisted because they don't recognize the name. She's like, I can't remember. It started with an S, though.
So swummy, slippy, slappy, slimming, Swanson?
Look on the briefcase.
Oh, Samsonite.
And I have a Samsonite, like,
safe
overnight bag or something. Yeah.
And which also, again, pays off later because when Mr. Andre shows up and he's like, that's your brief. He's like, well, we got all your stuff right here, Mr. Samsonite.
Yeah.
So, just another great little joke that when we were kids watching this, never would have got.
Right.
It works both ways. You can watch this as a kid and an adult. This is an R-rated movie, though, and it's raunchy as shit.
Guess.
Yeah, not the most raunchy, but, a little bit. They realize, well, what the fuck are we going to do? So they have no money. So they can't go get a hotel room. So where do they go? They go just like by some lake.
Yeah, they're at a lake or something by a picnic table.
Yeah, freezing.
Well, they have a fire going.
They do have a fire going. They're warming up, and Harry's like, I can't feel my hands. They're numb. Well, why don't you take this extra pair of gloves? My hands are starting to sweat anyway. Like such a dick.
Extra gloves?
This is something you would 100% do to me, and don't fucking lie and act like you wouldn't.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and you get.
We're in the Rockies.
Yeah, that's what you would say. Be like, "What? You're stupid for not bringing gloves."
Yeah,
like that. He shrugs it off. Like, "What are you, an idiot?" And that's what you would do too. Like,
100%.
Watching me shiver, and your hands are sweating. And just think I'm an idiot for not bringing them. And then he's like, I'm going to kill you, Lloyd.
Your hands are freezing.
He's choking. And actually, it's great sound design. If you ever hear it, when they throw the briefcase off, you can hear it unclick and open.
They throw the briefcase, it flips open. They glance over to a large sum of money.
Which I'm going to guess is about $1 million.
Something like that.
Because they spent one big purchase for $250,000 on a Lamborghini.
That's a car. Might want to hold on to that.
Which, again, they grab the money and they're walking, and I just love their logic, which is every time me and Matt's logic when we buy another movie is, our word is our bond, we're good for it, we'll pay back every single cent.
Yeah. They say they're not going to spend it on anything crazy, like just the essentials.
Just the essentials. Immediately go to a hotel and...
They show up in a Lamborghini, they open the doors and presents just fall out. They have these ridiculous clothes on.
They're tipping everybody. There you go.
There you go. Thank you, sir. There you go. Thank you, sir. There you go. There you go.
Well, there you go.
Handed out hundreds.
Hundreds, yeah. He's even not in the regular cut, but the unrated cut. He spins around with a couple. The guy with a couple decks of them. There you go.
He holds him up
like his gun.
And then a guy raises his hand.
The guy plays along. Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, of course they're going to play along. These guys are handing out money like candy. Like, well, why not? And they don't question it.
Right. Yeah.
Still, they forgot completely about Mary because they just been spending money, and they're watching a Bell South commercial, I think, crying, wiping their tears with the money, blowing their nose. And they pick up the paper to see what's on next, and he's like, Harry, it's her. Who? Mary Swanson. Swanson. And he's trying to read, and he can't read, and he's like, duh.
Yeah.
It's that dumb. So the next day, they find out that they're having this big ball, but they're like, hey, well, we got to get you ready for the ball, Cinderella.
Oh, yeah.
Great
so
montage.
We get a montage of getting him all ready, and then we see those famous tuxedos.
Yep, which I wanted to wear to my wedding, but my wife would not have it. That was going to be me and Matt, because Matt was my best man at my wedding, and he would have wore the orange, and I would have wore the blue.
Yeah, it would have been amazing.
Yep, so they go there, and they get ready. They go to the ball. Another thing with the montage, like getting the nails cut is so gross. He's got the thing.
They have the fucking angle grinder with a fucking sanding disc on it.
Just to cut his nails. You know, they're clipping the nose hairs. They don't like their hair done up all nice. But when they go to this ball, and it's like some preservation society, so they're there to preserve this owl, so it comes out of the
Like a snow owl or
snow owl. These are the last two left, I believe. Like, they're going to repopulate the entire world. I don't know what the hell they're doing with these snow owls. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They walk in there, they're fighting with their sticks, and they go to the guy.
canes.
The canes. Time out!
They whacks him in the back of the leg.
Yeah. And the guy's obviously thinking, these guys are, what are you fucking doing? They're like, all right, it's a $500 plate dinner, guys. All right, we'll see you later. He's like, oh, $500? All right, well, put us down for $2 then, in case we want. Yeah, blows the stuff again because he misses his mouth again right into
in the guy's face.
And then the girl walks up because at this point Mental's dead. So she's like, that's them. That's the two guys who whacked Mental.
Yeah.
And these people are blown away. They think these two are the smartest two walking the planet.
Yeah. They're just really the dumbest.
Two dumbest, no idea what they're even involved in. So they go over to the bar. He's like, I'll walk over to the bar, put out the vibe. And he sends Harry over to go talk to Mary because he's too nervous. And I guess that's his stepmom or something like her stepmom or something like that. And he's like, she's like, oh, Mary hasn't been out in a while. We still don't know that her husband's been kidnapped at this point, so we have no idea what's going on. And tells her, well, you know, Mary should go out and hit the slopes. And he's like, I don't know. Well, forget about your friend for once, okay? And he goes back to the bar, lies to Lloyd, and says, like, don't worry, I got you a date. And he's like, you'll meet her tomorrow. He's like, oh, thank you. And he opens up. He's like, let's call for a little bit of the bubbly. Yeah. Pops open the cork and kills one of the owls.
I think he gets them both.
Does he get them both?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, see, so I was right. So it turns out one owl dies, and they don't even realize they killed the owl. They turn around,
Man,
they're like,
this party really died.
and they're literally there talking about it. Mr. Andre and the girl later in the night, they're like, you see the message they sent? We killed their bird, they killed one of ours.
How does somebody whack an owl with a cork?
Yeah, these guys are good. I love that. So the next day, Harry hits the slopes, and Lloyd gets ready for his big date with Mary at the lobby bar. You know, the one in the lobby. At 10 a.m., of course, they're not open at 10 a.m. He's like, all right, well, you can come in, sit down. He gives him a beer. You know, he's sitting there waiting, and
dressed like a cowboy.
Dressed like with those gloves with the
frills.
The frills over.
Yeah.
But I mean, not that Harry's doing any better with that jumpsuit on that the French love or something like that he said, which is in a deleted scene. He makes fun of his package size. He's like, it's not very big.
And he puts the shorts on over it.
Yeah. I love that he doesn't even know how to ski. He walks into the ski shop with the skis on, knocks over everyone else's skis. But Lloyd's sitting there, and actually a girl who we saw earlier in the movie that while they were filling up for gas, and Lloyd was
Cherokee.
Yeah, nice Cherokee. She had her skis on top. Those your skis?
It was new.
Yeah, at the time.
Yeah.
Skis, huh?
That's right.
They're yours?
Uh-huh.
Both of them?
Anyway, this girl shows back up and playing. I guess we're supposed.
That's where we ran into Seabass.
Yeah, that gas station scene, which we scooted right over.
Did we pass that?
Yeah, we're way off that.
Yeah, because he gets the gas all over him, and then he lights her cigarette, lights his foot on fire.
Just give me the goddamn number.
While Seabass is in there trying to take advantage of Lloyd, he blows to the door, knocks him out. They take off.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the end of Seabass.
That's the end. That's the last we see of Cam Neely in this movie. But this girl shows up there, and again she starts bitching about her husband.
Turns out she's an undercover cop.
Yeah, which we don't find out till the very end of this movie. And he's like, bartender, do you know something named Mary Swanson? Oh, do I? Yeah, she lives in the big house up on the hill there. And he walks over because, you know, Mary and Harry had a nice day here, both of them. Yeah. You know, had some fun in the snow. Again, great use of the music. I love that they're just so bad with women. Like, he doesn't know what to do. Having a snowball fight with her. Throws it as hard.
Her in the face with
He's like, come on. And then, like, do it back to me. And
he whitewashes her, I think.
The snow, he's shoving her head down.
And then when they build the snowman, she gives him the carrot and the coal or whatever it was for the eye. He makes a dick.
Yeah,
He's standing there all proud.
He's like, I had no idea. And he drives her home, and they're in the car in the Lamborghini. He's like, they're gonna meet up again tonight. He's like, want to meet up at like 7:45? She's like, I don't know. I got some stuff to do. Why don't we say 7:45?
Yeah.
Fine, 7:45 then. Lloyd sees all this, and he becomes physically ill. He's like,
Yeah.
gagging at it because he's like, his best friend betrayed him with the love of his life, who he's only met once on a limo ride to the airport. And this is where he seeks his revenge. So they're in the hotel getting ready.
Did we get the speech where until I get sick of her and have to?
Well, this was a deleted scene, so that's not even in the regular cut of the movie.
That's a deleted scene.
That's a deleted scene.
Until I get sick of her and have to move on.
Yeah, so a deleted scene in this movie is, which actually does. It's in this part of the movie though.
Okay.
This is actually so in between them, talking about the night ahead. He's in the mirror talking about Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
And he's like, has a good ring to it. So this isn't in the regular movie. And then she's like, he says some kind of off-color comment about her. And Lloyd runs over, hey, that is the love of my life.
Yeah.
That is the something like the blood of my veins. He's like, I'm going to love her forever or until I get sick of her and have to move on. Lloyd knows what's going on. He knows the jig is up. And he knows he's going to see Mary that night. And what does he do? He gets a big thing of laxative, and he pours most of that into his tea and gives it to him. He makes him drink the whole thing.
How did you not taste that?
I don't know. I don't know what laxative tastes like, to be honest. But I think it's supposed to be tasteless. But
I don't know. I feel like I would be able to tell if you put something in my drink.
Well, I think he might have noticed, but remember, he's forcing it down his throat.
Yeah.
And while he's driving the Lambo to Mary's house, he gets
nature calls.
You hear that gurgle.
The gurgle.
You know that gurgle. And
all too well.
They get there, and Mary's like, I'm just finishing up, and he's just walking around, and it hits him again.
Yep.
And he runs into that bathroom.
Finds the bathroom. Black toilet. Like that a lot.
Yes. Well, the whole house is nice. I love the wood paneling walls.
Yeah, it looks like a resort type house, like a ski
rich.
resort. But it's got like that wood panel. Like if you ever go to like a ski,
ski lodge,
or something, it's got like that.
I always wanted that. I have wood paneling on my house,
but not like that.
No, dirty 70s wood paneling in my house that I painted white.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's got its perks. I mean, my house was built in 1864 by General Custard, so what do you expect? But anyway, he has to take a shit. Nature calls, he runs in the bathroom, destroys it, and then Mary knocks us out. I hope you're not using the toilet because the flush is broken.
Yeah.
And that's a scary feeling. I'm sure his stomach sank. And she's downstairs waiting for him. Sees on TV about these people in Rhode Island who sold a bird to a blind kid. Mm-hmm. Hey, who are these
sick people?
Hard cut to Lloyd at the door. Who knows that Harry's in there. He's like, I found your briefcase, you big goof, and left it at the airport.
Yeah.
So you have my briefcase? And then they're like, yeah.
You want to hop on the bike and go get it?
Yeah, unless you're, busy or something. I don't know, because he knows that Harry's up there. And then she tells Harry, and this is deleted scene too. We don't see him dumping the stuff out the window.
I want to know how he got it detached from
That's what I was thinking.
Without tools.
I don't know how he did that, but that's cut from the movie, so maybe they thought it was a little too silly.
Yeah.
So because we would just hear, I'm just shaving, and then you hear all this.
Yeah.
So anyway, leaves him there. Lloyd jumps with her. They head back to the place to go get the money. And this is again, he's just like Harry, super dumb. He's like, I'll race you up the stairs. Trips her, knocking her down.
I won.
This is how you treat a woman, guys. So they run up there, and they're talking, and he's like, "Wow!" And he asks him, "What are the chances that a guy like you gets with a girl like me?" And this is after.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, because he mixes up the words. He also asks, "Mary, I desperately want to make love to a schoolboy."
Yeah, he was practicing his speech and he just choked.
And then she's like, "So what are the chances? Just lay it on me, hit me straight." Was it like
1 in a million?
And he takes that as a good thing.
Yeah. So you're saying
that I
chance.
have. And then right as he says that, knock at the door. There's Mr. Andre. We're good with towels. We don't need any. Thanks. Tries to shut the door on him. Pulls a gun out, and then springs up her husband. And he's like, "Husband? What was all that one in a million talk? Throws them on the bed, and then we cut to Harry down in the lobby showing up, and this is where we see the cop again, the girl from that we've seen a couple times. This is when we find out that she's... Well, actually, we don't find out yet. She's like, Harry, you never called.
Yeah.
Back upstairs to Mr. Andre having the gun on the two of them, ordering his food. And obviously, he wants a vegetarian. He's in great shape.
On his flight.
Yep, because he's going to Amsterdam. He's going to go smoke some weed and hang out with all his IOUs.
What is this? Where's all the money? That's as good as money, sir. Those are IOUs.
Every cent's accounted. Yeah, I love how he's so confident. You know, we checked every cent. Here's one for a car, $250,000.
Might want to hold on to that one.
This is when Harry walks in. Oh, good, you found her. I'll leave you two alone. And then Mr. Andre's like, no, stay. Pushes him on the gun, handcuffs them all. And this is when they start fighting, basically because, you know, Harry betrayed Lloyd. But then Harry tells Lloyd, well, you betrayed me, Mr. French tickler. Yeah. She told me the whole sleazy story.
Yeah.
You know, I guess we're not as good of friends as we thought. If one girl can drive us between us, and then eventually Mr. Andre is going to shoot them. And he tells her, he tells them, you know, you guys can pick. And then this is when they get the courage to basically tell you about their friendship, that the other one does mean a lot to him. He's like, you know, Harry. And then Harry jumps up and he's like, no, Lloyd, I knew you were crazy about her. Yesterday was the best day of my life. She touched my leg, and then...
Okay, shoot him!
And then he does... You killed my best friend, you bastard! And then jumps up and starts shooting at Mr. Andre, and then misses every single shot.
What a horrible shot.
No, you're horrible.
Oh, Harry, you're alive. And you're a horrible shot.
What if he shot you in the face, and then this is when the cops bust in and everything, and then Harry throws his hand, not you, dummy! Yeah. And then he asks the cops, what if they shot me in the face?
That's a risk we were willing to take.
I'll tell you, that's kind of fucked up.
Can't wear a bulletproof face.
I mean, but still, like, for this one guy, I mean, I guess he had a gun on the other two of them, and I guess one for Harry's life compared to everyone else's, I don't know. Mary was, I guess, the most important thing, and getting Bobby back.
Yep.
Because that's the whole thing, I guess, was getting Bobby back from the kidnappers. Because they do get him back pretty fast after, like, they arrest Mr. Andre and everything like that.
Yeah.
Because, again, we'll cut downstairs. And I always love this song that they're playing when they're walking the two of them to the cop car. We don't need to play anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Why can't we be friends? I love that song. So anyway, throws them in the car, and yeah, Bobby's there. Brings them, gets out of the car.
And Lloyd has a little date, or whatever you want to call it, where he just charges the guy with a gun and guns him down.
He's got a gun! And then he's like, Lloyd, I want you to meet my husband, Bobby. Bobby,
I'm so happy for you.
And that's basically it. You know, it thanks them all for doing the right thing. And these two, the cops took their nest egg. So we just cut to them walking down the road, like, you know, talking about what happened. They got nothing. They literally got nothing. So they're I guess they're walking home. And it's like, why don't we ever catch a break?
And then a bus of beautiful women in bikinis
pulls up,
yeah.
waves to them, and like, hallelujah, hallelujah. And they jump out, and they're like, we're looking for two men who are willing to, like, just lotion us up before we eat show at night.
Yeah.
And little Harry tells him, well, you're in luck. There is a town back that way. I'm sure you'll find two guys. And Lloyd, you know, obviously, are you kidding me? It could be us. Grabs him. Do you realize what you've done? Runs back, waving, and says, you gotta excuse my friend. He's a little slow. The town you're looking for is back that way. Just hammering home how stupid they are. And, you know, then they drive away, and the two lucky boys are going to be laughing.
Kind of walking off into the sunset.
That's it.
I think they start playing tag again.
Yep, you're it. As the credits play over, and then that's the end of our movie.
Greatest comedy ever.
And it's still perfect. I didn't look at my notes once through this entire thing, and I wrote a lot.
I had a great time watching it last night. I was laughing hysterical.
But the one thing I do want to point out is that unrated cut, I don't think is as good as the theatrical cut. I actually like the cuts they made.
So, I don't disagree.
Okay.
But I could go either way. I could watch either version. I don't mind the unrated, but I don't mind the theatrical either. I don't miss them, and I don't need them there.
I feel like the way that where the cuts were made were perfect. I feel like the scene, like when they're in the bathtub and they're talking, and he's got his ear against the wall. It's moving slow. Nothing really adds to the movie. The only thing I would have liked to keep is that one scene when he's screaming at him, "Hey!" You know, like, actually, yeah, you can look and see right now. What is the difference in length compared to the theatrical?
So theatrical is 106 and extended is 113.
So it's only 7 minutes that's added to the movie. It actually does feel like a little bit more than that. Because really they do just extend some scenes. It's nothing really else other than that.
Right.
So I just wish that we could get now, because unfortunately that's the only Blu-ray I could find was this theatrical, this unrated cut.
Yeah.
So maybe in the future we'll get a 4K of this, but Jim Carrey movies, none of them are on 4K except for like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Like none of the big three. No Ace Ventura, no Mask. All of them are just old Blu-rays.
Yeah, that's...
And some dated Blu-rays
That's
too.
comedy though. You know, comedy stuff rarely comes to 4K.
And I was saying for the longest time we don't need an upgrade for comedies. I'm fine with them. But now I kind of want the upgrades.
Yeah, of course.
So, and especially to this, for one of our favorite movies, and the fact we only have one cut on Blu-ray, kind of bothers me.
Yeah, I would not mind a 4K of this or any other comedy for that.
Yeah, no, I'd be all in on that. So hopefully down the line we do get that.
I guess once they get through all the catalogs, maybe they'll start digging into this shit.
Yep.
Comedy.
And you know what? This movie was a mega hit. Like we said, the Farley brothers made plenty of movies after this, like Kingpin, which I love, Something About Mary, that other Jim Carrey movie. What's the movie where he plays with the split personality? I'm drawing something.
Me, Myself,
and Irene. Yep. Yeah. They did that. Stuck on You. Peter Farley actually had a Best Picture win for Green Book a few years ago. So, well, everyone was successful. They did a sequel to this, which was a prequel, Dumb and Dumber, that came out in the early 2000s.
I have that.
And that did not feature Jeff Daniels or Jim Carrey in it. It was just a movie that was about their childhood in high school. And that movie, actually, I never hated it. I thought it was all right.
Yeah, it's okay. I have it on DVD, I think.
So anyway, yeah, they did that. I thought that movie was pretty good, but many people were asking for a sequel. We never got a sequel. And this is around the time when they were making sequels to Jim Carrey's movies. Like, they had the Ace Ventura Jr., they had Son of the Mask with Jamie Kennedy.
Here's the Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, and that one was actually probably the best of all those, but not great. But everyone always wanted a sequel to Dumb and Dumber. And a few years ago, we got Dumb and Dumber 2. And that movie broke my heart.
Yeah,
I saw that in the movies, and I walked out of there so disappointed. I did that thing where I was trying to convince myself that it was good, because I just spent 2 hours at the movies, and I was like, oh no, this was funny.
How long is it?
And I was just so let down by it. And you said you didn't even see this.
Hour 50. No, I didn't see it in theaters. That's why I own the Blu-ray, because I picked it up to watch it for the first time, and I've only watched it once, and that was...
What was that, 2016, that movie?
No, it's got to be before that.
Because this was kind of like a resurgence, I remember, when Jim Carrey was doing stuff. I think he was in Kick-Ass 2 around this time.
2014.
14. Wow, that movie's almost 10 years old now? Oh my God, I'm getting old.
Yeah, so 2014 was the last time I watched it.
Yeah, I was just so disappointed. But, well, let's leave it alone. Dumb and Dumber is still the greatest comedy we've ever had.
I agree.
And we're fortunate enough to have it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode of Half-Ass Movie Reviews. We have a poll that goes out every Sunday that you can vote on what next week's movies are going to be. We got Sunday to Wednesday to pick, so make sure you are subscribed to us on YouTube so you can actually vote on those and pick the movie that we do for the next, Half-Ass Movie Reviews.
That's it.
So if you're an audio listener, you have to go to YouTube. And if you're a video subscriber, you already know about this. But hey, why don't you subscribe to us on podcasts as well? Give a couple of 5-star men a couple of 5-star ratings. And let's keep growing this community because we really do appreciate all the support from you guys.
Everybody knows what that 5-star men thing. Just throw the...
Oh, you want me to throw in the...
Always Sunny
I'll
clip.
throw the Always Sunny clip in there. So yeah, so make sure you're subscribed to us on everything, and that way you can follow us and keep growing our community, and we really appreciate all your support, guys. So anyway, why don't you guys have a great day.